Amazing. Okay, so today I am here with Atlee that just graduated from Standout Style. Do you mind
Hi.
sharing with us who you are, where you're from, what you do in this amazing world?
Yes. So I'm Atlee Smith. I am a district family community liaison for the school district I work for. I used to be a school social worker, so I worked for one school. And at the end of last school year, I got promoted to a district-wide position, which kind of is what kicked me into wanting to feel better about my clothes and especially clothes in the workplace, which is how I found Melanie on social media. Um, So I work with families who are new to our country, families who are at risk, but I also work with doing a lot of professional development for our um, like our different buildings. And then I'm a part of a lot of different administrative decisions. I work with our superintendent, a lot of directors, a lot of big people in our district as well. So I'm a part of a lot of higher level conversations than I have been in the past.
Okay, amazing. Well, congratulations on your new
Thank
role.
you.
So tell us what was going on with you, your wardrobe, confidence, and all of that before we started working together.
So before we started working together, I had it in my mind that when you had a leadership role, you dressed like XYZ. Like you wore dark colors, you wore, harsh lines, you wore pantsuits, you wore, navy blue and black and gray, and you wore blazers. And this is how you got people to take you seriously because this is what you wore. So even as a school social worker, like I got on the ground and work with kids. So I kind of wore joggers, but I would wear joggers and a blazer or jeans and a blazer and a t-shirt. I had in my mind that in order to be taken seriously, I had to dress a certain way. And like I got a promotion dressing that way. And I, got a lead social worker in my district dressing this way. So like it was working out, but I didn't feel great. I throughout that time when I was a social worker, I became a mom. My body changed a lot. I gained a lot of weight. I lost a lot of weight. So I always denoted like dedicated how I was feeling to like, oh, your body's changing, or oh, you got hormones, or oh, this, oh, that. But I always had in my brain that if you're going to be a leader in schools or in whatever, like this is how leaders dress. And a lot of the upper leaders are men. So that's how they're dressing is they're wearing dark clothes, a white button down, and a tie.
Mhm.
And I'm not going to wear a tie, but like I was assimilating to that because I wanted to be taken seriously. And that's very much like what I had built pieces of my wardrobe around.
Well, there's two things that I'm really noticing the way you're saying. The two things is this expectation of what someone who's successful looks like and what
Mm.
society has really taught us. And then the other thing is building your wardrobe and buying things that you probably don't even really like and would never see yourself wearing if given the choice, but you were kind of like cutting parts of yourself off in order to feel that you quote unquote belonged
Yeah.
in that situation in order to be respected.
And I mean, there were times like I was getting ready in the morning and I'd put a jacket on and I'd be like, not today. And then I'd find myself, I had two jackets that I wore all the time, or I had three pairs of pants I wore all the time. And even though like I had jackets that I bought because I thought that that's what I should have, I never wore them. I'd put them on and be like, this doesn't look good today. It's probably because I'm bloated, or this doesn't look good today. It's probably because I'm pale. I always had an excuse as to why it didn't work today.
Mm.
Um, but then come to find out there were other reasons as to why I didn't feel good in them.
Okay, so talk to us about that. Talk to us about what your biggest aha shift was when it came to going through standout style.
Oh my gosh, just one. I
Okay.
can't just tell you one.
No.
Well, the first one was when we had to do our style boards. Because that was when you kind of gut checked me as to like in my brain, I'm like, okay, there's gonna be a lot of blazers, there's gonna be a lot of structure. And you're scrolling through it and you're like, there's a lot of lace, there's a lot of texture, there's a lot of flow. You really have a feminine style. And I'm like, no, I don't. And then I went up and went through my closet and I'm like, yeah, there's a lot. I just don't wear it because I don't think that I'm allowed to wear it. And I really sat with that. And then I started scrolling through, and this is like before we had done colors, before we had done fit. This is just with our Pinterest boards. And I had looked in my closet and this is like, wow, this is the stuff that I want to wear, but I don't know how to wear it. Like I have, florals. Like the biggest pattern I had in my closet was florals. I never wore them because I had in my brain, and we talked at one of our group calls, like if I wore pink or if I were dressed feminine, I was afraid. And I finally, like, I don't know why it had taken me so long to put two and two and two together. Like I was afraid of not being taken seriously if I had dressed girly and I was the only one who dressed feminine at the table. And it took me like having you spell it out for me. Like you can still be hyper feminine and be taken like seriously as a powerhouse at a decision making table. And it's almost like being given that permission and having it spelled out for me. Like you wouldn't have put these things on your Pinterest board if you didn't see them as a part of you, or if you didn't see them as something that you're aspiring to. And there were, like, I very much thought my Pinterest board was classic, traditional, sporty. And you did like all the work between the lines. You're like, well, but yeah, but there's this fabric that's in 3/4 of the pieces, and there's this texture that's in 3/4. And I'm like, well, yeah, now that I see it, I can't unsee it. So that was my first aha moment, was doing like, and that's why it's so much more than just having a stylist, because that like back work changed how I think about everything now. It's that I can, now that I'm feeling more confident in what I'm wearing and I'm feeling more like myself, when I go to the decision-making table, I feel like I'm bringing myself. And I can't tell you how many times over the last 5 years I said to my husband and my best friend, like, gosh, don't you feel like you have imposter syndrome all the time? Like in my new role, I haven't said that once, which is really cool
I love
because
that.
I feel like I'm leaning into actually myself now.
Mm.
So that I see like that's probably my biggest aha moment, is I can dress like myself and still feel like I'm contributing in a quality way.
I love that so much. And this is, like you said, this is the key, why a personal stylist or a personal shopper doesn't work, because it's not teaching you to trust yourself. It's
Yes.
giving you more clothes and more ideas and more things to try, as opposed to what we all want to do is we want that validation, and we want those dots connected of like the thing that's like irking at you and irking at you that you just can't figure out. It's just that, like, okay, let me just bring it to a head and let me just figure out what this is, as opposed to spending so much money on other people's solutions. And that's
Yes.
what I feel like we're kind of trained to do, of let's keep buying things and trying it and trying it and trying. And it becomes super, super wasteful. What other things do you think were super helpful when it came to going through this process?
Yes. Well, so I had 2 or 3 subscription services for 3 years before I had signed up for this. And the day before I signed up with you, I canceled all of them. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to pay for any of these. And my goal is to be intentional on what I'm buying. So instead of paying all these styling fees, I'm going to put that money towards like intentionally buying things. I had in my brain, your waist is the smallest part of your body. You're an hourglass. Like this is what you put in all of these subscription services. And then when we got to body typing, you're like, nope, you're an inverted triangle. Okay. So then it really helps. Like you can take all the quizzes you want online and you can take all the stuff yourself, but until you have a trained professional looking at you from a bird's eye view, I never would have said that I was an inverted triangle. I've always been like, oh, my shoulders are wide, my waist is little, my hips are big. That's an hourglass shape. So now that I'm buying intentionally pants and skirts, again, I had skirts I was never wearing, they're gone now. I had pants I donated them. And now I'm intentionally buying things that fit my actual body type, not the body type I thought I had.
Mm.
I feel so much better. So that was a big aha, that I was purchasing to the wrong body type. And then I had a really big like mental war with the colors pink and purple. And that sounds stupid, but in my color type, or my color wheel, I had colors I was super comfortable with, like mustard and navy and green and cream and beige. And I'm not someone who like had to die on a hill because I didn't have black and white in my color palette. That wasn't a big deal to me. But you had given me a challenge one week to find a piece of clothing with a certain color of pink. And I'm like, that color is gonna look horrendous on me. And in my head, I'm like, I'll show her. It's gonna look terrible. And I went in my closet and I found this blouse, and I'm like, I've never worn this blouse in my life because it's gonna look terrible. I'm gonna look washed out. And I put it on and I took a picture, and you're like, you look like you came to life. And the more I looked at it, I was like, why did I have in my brain that I couldn't wear this color? And it's because in my brain, I'm like, well, it's pink. If pink is too girly, they're not going to take you seriously. So now, I mean, I just bought I think it's called deep sea green suit and a French lilac blouse to go under it. I never would have bought a green suit with a purple shirt to go underneath it. I'm like beyond excited. So it's like I'm leaning into color so much more now because it's fun. Like it feels empowering. But Color Week terrified me because I had like my warm autumn tones, and I'm not even an autumn color, but those are, the certain little pod. And then I had these extra colors out here that I'm like, yeah, those are cool, cool. But those colors are the pieces of clothing that I'm buying more of now.
Mm-hmm.
Because, when you talked about intentionally shopping and, utilizing what you already have in your closet, and when I look at my closet now, I have, the bulk of, these colors here. I don't own these colors. So now when I'm, shopping at the stores or I shop online a lot more now that I've worked with you, because that was scary until Standout Style. I buy that like third column of colors that we talked about a lot more because you talked about the power of those pops of colors. And, yeah, that purple can be scary when you think about it as a head to toe outfit. Well, stop thinking about it as a head to toe outfit. You're not going to do that. You're buying it as a coat or a shoe or a pant. Stop telling your brain that you're wearing it as like head to toe because you don't have to.
Mm-hmm.
And once I stopped thinking about it like that, that third column of colors became a lot less scary.
Yeah.
So that
And
was another big aha moment.
And I feel like parts of it are like giving you permission, but also giving you the one step forward. Where I think that because so many women have joined the program that have had color analysis before, and they're like, okay, how is this going to be different? And it's really talking
It's so
about
different.
how are we going to use the color.
Yeah.
And really, so what do you feel now going through Standout Style? Besides the clothes, what do you feel is happening for you when it comes to work, when it comes to showing up, when it comes to getting dressed? Where do you really feel like the biggest change has been?
Getting dressed in the morning is fun now. Like I feel like it's kind of a game of like what other combination can I put together? Whereas before it was like I kind of gave up. Like, well, I'm gonna wear these pants and one of these three shirts. And I kind of had just, hey, this works. Now I find myself getting a lot more creative and getting more excited about what fun combinations. And I kind of tell myself like, WWMD, like what would Melanie do? And I mean, I have an album on my phone of like all of the different outfits that we made through Standout Style. And I just flip through them, and if I, like, oh, here's all my color palettes. Oh, here's like my favorite one. And then I saved all of the different outfits that I made while we were doing it. So if you need, you know, inspiration's the word, but I would say now getting dressed or coming up with outfits is a lot more fun. And then, I mean, it's vain to say, or it's not. I get a lot more compliments now.
Mm.
I get a lot of questions like, where'd you get that? And like more often than not, it's God, I don't know. I've had this forever, but I've never worn it. Or I'm wearing things in a different way. I get a lot more excited about how to pair things now.
Mm-hmm.
Like I bought a leopard print skirt yesterday off of a website. I never would have done that.
Mm-hmm.
And in my brain, I'm like, well, I could pair this with a light pink sweater and I could tuck it in. Was not a tucker before. And now I could wear a belt. And fun fact to everyone watching, I did not own a belt before I met Melanie.
Oh.
Yeah. So like now I find myself like, well, if I get this, then I could wear it with this or this or this or this or this.
Mhm.
And when you talk about, you don't say capsule,
Cluster.
cluster. I
Mhm.
find myself mentally clustering things so much faster now.
Mhm.
Whereas before it was so much work. Now if I get a blue sweater, I'm like, well, I could wear this with my purple pants. I could wear this with my green blazer. I could wear this with my leopard print skirt. I could do like, it's so much easier. And then getting dressed is so much quicker. Like the mental load isn't there anymore. And then I don't start my day angry. So I guess that's a big difference. I'm
That's
not
huge difference.
frustrated.
Yeah, it's a huge difference because I find that we don't realize that we're almost like feeling like we've undone before we even left the house when it comes to getting your wardrobe. And I
You'll
know
just
that
see it.
one of the things I think that women often have this a little bit of insecurity about, like you said, is this vain? Is this something that feels like a little too girly, a little like ridiculous? Can you just share with us kind of like if someone is thinking like this is a little silly that I am investing in someone to teach me how to get dressed, something that I should have known when I was 3 years old, like what would you say to that person?
I'd say do it anyways because I had done, I think, every color typing, body typing quiz online that you could have done yourself. Um, and I still learned endless amounts from Melanie because there's only so much you can teach. And you like having someone walk through, and like I said, a personal stylist is not the same as an image coach. And like this knowledge is not knowledge that you lose in 5 weeks when the program ends. Like this knowledge is stuff that stays with you for the rest of your life. Thankfully, I mean, I'm only 32. I have so much of my career in front of me. Like this is knowledge that I will use to build my wardrobe for the rest of my life.
Mhm.
I mean, it's never too late to do this either, whether you're 42, 52, 62, but I mean, making this an investment in my career now, I would urge anyone who's early in their career to do this because I mean, think of how confident I feel now, down the road if as I progress into different positions, I don't even have to think twice about my confidence or feeling like I'm an imposter because I know I feel good. I know I belong. I know I'm dressing for the right occasions. Um, so I mean, it's you're worth investing in. And I mean, I loved how you laid it out. Like if you were to pay for a stylist, and I mean, I thought about how much I was spending on these subscription boxes, and there were some times where I'd get 3 boxes and I would buy nothing because I didn't like anything.
Mhm.
So that's like 20, 40, 60 bucks a month down the drain.
Mhm.
And so investing in yourself is priceless, especially with, I mean, I work in education. I'm talking knowledge is priceless. So, especially when it's knowledge that you put on yourself. And as moms, we don't spend money on ourselves. And this is stuff that feeling good about yourself and what kind of example are you setting for your kids? Are you setting for the people around you? When you get up and you show up for yourself, you're showing your kids, you're showing the people around you what it looks like and feels like to show up for yourself. And
Mhm.
that's where it's at.
Yeah, I love that so much. And that's one thing that, like, as I feel like we could all say, my kid needs hockey equipment, my kid needs this, my kid needs that. However, if you're not starting your day feeling good, showing up at the best version, second guessing yourself, it's such like a not great example for us to put out there. And then one last question
Mhm.
is really, I think that one of the things that people may think when we're approaching this, and you've kind of hinted at it before, but I'd love for you to go a little bit deeper, is can you talk about how this program is not really so much about just dressing yourself for the next 2 months, 6 months, 1 year? It really is retraining the way that you show up and how you're excited about. Tell us a little bit about like what is now possible because of knowing these skills.
Yes. So, I didn't think I was gonna donate anything going into standout style. I was like, well, my closet, I have all the basics. I don't need it. I have the basics. And with the knowledge you learn, standout style is set up so intentionally that like you can't help but go into your closet and be like, but this doesn't fit my archetype. And then you walk in the next week and you're like, no wonder I don't wear this. Like, this doesn't fit with my cluster of 5 words that I want to feel like. And you naturally find yourself slowly picking out stuff and making a pile of like, well, no wonder I don't like, oh, that's why I don't wear this. This isn't in my color palette. And then the feeling of when you finally pull all those items out and you look at your closet, and that's like week 3-ish, like you realize how valuable that knowledge is. And it makes you so intentional. Like, I don't stress shop anymore. I don't like impulse buy, because I know what's in my closet and I know what I need. So like I just bought, like I said, a green blazer and green pants because I knew, all right, that's the color that I'm missing. And I like, so it's so much intentional. I have a list in my phone of when I feel like shopping, I need one of these 10 items, or this is what I'm looking for. And like in the long run, that's going to save me money. Yes, I'm paying up front for this course, but I'm not impulse buying all these things, because now I have a curated collection of what I have. And one of my archetypes was timeless. And I mean, I love that you challenged me. Like, what does that actually mean? Because that's, such a hot button word. But, now I don't have these one-off fad things. I have things that are going to work for me. They're my timeless. They're not timeless to whoever. They're my timeless. And that's going to work for me 10 years, 15 years down the road, because they're my colors. My colors aren't going to change. And now, like when I feel like shopping, okay, well, I really need a pair of purple pants. Well, I just bought a pair of purple pants a couple weeks ago because I was looking and I'm like, I need another pop of color pants. And I was like, Melanie always challenged us, like, you probably need a pop of color pants. So I got a color of French lilac pants. So you find yourself being more intentional, and then your effort doesn't go towards shopping. Your effort goes towards within your own closet and putting everything together. And that's where you'll put like your long-term energy, like talking years down the road. I mean, and it's so worth it. It's a lot of work up front, but it's structured in such a way that it doesn't feel like a lot of work.
And I feel like it's also like a lot of knowledge, but like kind of things that you could very quickly implement. Like I
Yes.
feel that one of those things is that it's not like, oh, I have to go through 5 weeks. It's like you're gonna first start to have like ahas immediately, and also have great outfits and like immediately. So it's
Yes.
like this you have to go through this process, and it's really kind of evolving with you. So I love that so much.
Yeah.
Anything else that you wanted to share?
I mean, I think the biggest thing is trusting you, because one of my favorite weeks was when you said, I don't care what the outfit looks like, just throw the colors together. And I was just pulling like orange and purple and things that I'm like, this is going to look stupid. But she said she wanted color combos. I don't care. One of my favorite outfits I wear now is from that week. So like when Melanie tells you, like, I don't care what the pieces are, just put the colors together. I like find myself doing that in my closet now. Like, don't look at the piece, just look at the color. So you almost have to like trust the process and throw away any preconceptions you have, because if I didn't do that, I wouldn't be putting all the pieces I have in my closet, and then you're not utilizing what you have to the fullest extent. So I would say if you're gonna jump in and do it, you gotta like leave your preconceptions at the door, trust Melanie, and be up for her challenges. And when she says, don't pay attention to the fit, just the color, trust her, because you'll find combinations in your own closet you didn't know you had.
I love that. So, and it all comes down to like us almost being 5 years old again and not really caring what anyone
It's
thinks.
dress up.
Yeah. Like we really are so conditioned to care about what everyone thinks that we're actually preventing ourselves from feeling confident, from loving our outfits, from just feeling good, because we're so afraid of doing it wrong. Where I love that this process is really about learning yourself, learning what goods in you, but having the safety net of knowing that you're not going to fail, because you have the strategy and you have the structure and you have the intention around there. Well, thank you so much for your time, Atlee. I
Thank
really
you.
appreciate it. My pleasure. don't ask.